Today's guest is Sonia Mundra. She's the president at Chenega Analytic Business Solutions, which is an 8A Alaskan native corporation providing IT and professional services for the federal government, which is right up my alley since I'm in the GovCon community. In fact, that's how I met Sonia at a networking event. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So for those who haven't met you at an event and got to know you a little bit, talk about your background, where you're from, who you are, and what you do.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Southern Delaware, so not too far away from the GovCon community, but still not far away physically, but far away, I guess, technologically, shall we say. Southern Delaware these days is very different than it was when I grew up there. So came to school, started to come to the DC, Northern Virginia area. I've been here well over 20 years. Came to school undergrad at Georgetown. I knew back then that I had a really a keen interest in finance, accounting, anything money related, because I felt like if people knew how to manage their money, or you knew how to manage your money, that was a lifelong skill. And I felt like that was a great foundation or a jumping off point for anything else. So I went to Georgetown because they have a great finance program there. So I majored in finance and did the whole Bachelor's of Business Administration. After graduating from Georgetown, I joined Accenture as a client financial analyst. And I was there for several years, and I really liked it. It was a great foundation for me. I left Accenture to get my master's degree at GW, and it was a master's in accounting. And then I went on to get my CPA in Virginia. And after that, I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers, worked in their national tax practice, learned a lot about that. A lot of writing, more on the legal side, so that was really interesting for me. And then for it'll be almost 10 years, so 10 years in about a month now, I've been with Chenega. So I started out at Chenega as a company controller for one of our sister subsidiaries, or like basically another company under the big, what we call big Chenega Corporation. And I got an opportunity to grow with the company. So that company was pretty much on fire. The president was winning a ton of work and they needed hands. And I really, really love working at Chenega because even though Chenega Corp is, kind of a large business, we are a government contractor. That's what I already knew how to do. But we have a small business mentality, right? And so I really like that because when I was at Accenture, it was kind of like I was siloed in my area, just doing finance. And then at Chenega, you can't hide in a small business. You have to wear all hats. And so, I volunteered to help and got to work in operations. The company paid for me to get my PMP. The president did at the time. Didn't know anything about HR, personnel management, nothing else other than the finance. So it turned out that was a great foundation for me, the whole finance thing. So got to manage all that, worked as a program manager, operations manager, then a director of operations. And then 6.5 years ago, it's hard to believe I'm in my 7th year now, I was appointed president and general manager of a brand new subsidiary. I'm employee one of Chenega Analytic Business Solutions. So the rest is history, I guess.
Wow, that's interesting. And then you've had to grow that business?
Yes. So at Chenega, we are, as presidents, we are responsible for P&L, for all the business development, and all the operations. So sometimes at other Alaska Native companies or other companies, you've got a person, a general manager running the operations, and then you've got a business developer. Those roles are kind of siloed. But so it is almost like 2 or 3 jobs in one. But the reason, I believe the reason that Chenega does it this way is because at the end of the day, does a government person or a buyer really want to talk to a salesperson? They want to talk to an operations person. So they want to also know that after the contract is awarded, I'm not going to disappear.
Mm.
I have current customers and can call me anytime they want, good or bad, with anything. And I think they like that access. So it is, challenging, to manage your time and resources, which are limited, but, I like it because I've always liked operations anyway, so.
So you were employee one. Did you get any starting employees or did you have to start from scratch?
I started from scratch, but at the same time, I don't want to say I exactly started from scratch because Chenega's been in the market for a long time, right? Since the 1970s. And so I work under the Military Intelligence and Operations Support umbrella. And so I had existing relationships with customers working at the other Chenega subsidiary, right? So I had personal past performance. And Chenega's got a really good reputation and brand name in the government contracting community. So I don't want to overplay it to say like I'm with Sonia Mundra, company one, and I had to get out there and do it all by myself. I mean, I definitely had that lift and that brand backing from Chenega. But yes, it is true that all the capture, all that business development is done at the company level. And so when the president of the strategic business unit, who's my boss, is looking, I think, for presidents and for leaders, he's looking for people that are entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Right, because you got to build something from scratch. You got to understand your costs, your expenses, build a customer base.
Yeah, and well, I always say people do business with people that they like and trust.
Right, that's very, very true.
Yeah, and for better or worse, I believe that people decide if they like or they trust you sometimes within minutes or seconds of meeting you. So I think perceptions can be changed, but it is an interesting balance to manage kind of the technical portion, the operations portion, the finance portion, but also the relationship portion. And so that requires me to flex on a lot of different skills. I'm definitely an introvert. People don't believe that. I am an absolute introvert. I still get a ton of social anxiety when I'm going out into the field or into a networking event where I really don't know people. Sometimes if I'm sitting at my desk, I'm like, do I really want to go to that event tonight? Oh, no, but once I get there, I have a great time and meet everybody. So, the job has a lot of different facets that's allowed me to flex outside of my normal comfort zone.
So I want to roll back a little bit. So you knew finance. How did you pick Georgetown? Was it how close it was to Delaware? You said it had a great finance program. Is that it's because there are other schools with great finance programs?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was pretty close by. My family wanted me to be within a couple of hours. So I was looking at a couple different schools in the DC area. I had visited there a few times and I like the energy. I like the idea after, being in Southern Delaware. I like the idea. I did not want to go to college like at Cornell or something where it's, another small place. And that allowed me, being in DC allowed me to, like, I interned during the summer, I interned during the school year at NASDAQ so many moons ago when they were based off of K Street. So I got a lot of opportunities at just being in the DC area, and I love the energy of the city.
And then how did you get the job at Accenture, right? That's first job is the hardest. And you didn't mention interning at Accenture. How did that come about?
Yeah, no, I interned at Credit Suisse. And also when I graduated, I'm going to date myself, but when I graduated, it was a little bit after that 2002 recession. So I was really happy that I didn't graduate in 2002. I graduated later because a lot of the students that, were getting offers, like for example, from Arthur Andersen, their offers got rescinded, of course, right? Because Arthur Andersen is not in existence anymore. So I had a referral of a person that worked there who helped me, and I got an interview, and they said, well, we're looking for folks with 2 years of experience. I said, well, I have internships, and they said, okay, fine. And like I said, Accenture was a great foundation for me. I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic company. I've done business with them many times. And then PricewaterhouseCoopers, that's a big deal to work at that company. It's one of the well-known financial firms. How did you come about finding that position?
So in grad school, my professor recommended me for the position. I was very lucky. So I did well in one of his tax classes. And so he wanted to refer me. He had a relationship with the National Tax Services Division at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I interviewed and got the job. So
It's interesting. We should take advantage of those opportunities, right? When you meet somebody who knows somebody, that's networking. A lot of people don't take advantage when they say, "Hey, I can make a recommendation," and that's really great that you did that.
yeah, I definitely did not understand the power of networking. It took me a long time to understand that. I don't feel that I networked enough when I was younger because I didn't understand it.
Yeah. And then, of course, now you're at a small business. Now, how big is your company right now?
Yeah, so now we have 350 employees and
Wow.
growing. So
Wow.
yeah, we're still we're still small. We're still 8A certified. So and we're gonna, we're in year 5. So we've got a couple good years left in the program. So yeah, that's how big we are. And then military intelligence and operations support is around, which is my parent organization, if you will. And it does exactly what it sounds like, right? So we're headquartered here in Lorton, and we've got offices in Huntsville and Colorado Springs and all the places that you would expect a DoD contractor to have offices. That business unit has, I think, 1,500 to 1,800. And then Chenega, big Chenega, all of Chenega, has, I think, 6,000. It was
Okay.
5,500 when I started, but Chenega, every year that I've been at Chenega, this prior year has always been its best year ever.
Wow. That's a
So
great place to work. You know that they're making an impact.
they are, and visiting the Chenega village in Alaska was certainly, I mean, I consider it to be one of the experiences of my lifetime. I mean, it was I was very fortunate to have that experience to visit the Chenega village, to meet with the tribe and the shareholders. And, it's a great feeling when they thank you for the work that you've done on their behalf.
So I don't run into a whole lot of companies that have that Alaskan native. Can you explain that for somebody who may not have heard of that before?
Sure. So in the 1970s, through the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, these several, I think 8 or 12, Alaska Native corporations, ANCs, were established. And so with each of their stories is different, but basically in exchange for giving up their land rights to, I believe it was President Nixon, so he could run an oil pipeline through their sacred lands, the Chenega village, et cetera, in exchange for a sum of money, which I believe was around 34 million at that time. They gave up their land rights and they got the money, and they were smart because they turned that money into a going concern, right? Because they're always thinking, 10 generations behind and 10 generations ahead, right? Every action, that's what our CEO says. He says that every move that we make, every action that we make, we have to think about our elders, and we have to think about 10 generations ahead of us. How is this going to impact them? So that's how these Alaska Natives were formed. And then Chenega, through military intelligence and operations support, has been doing business with the DoD and the federal government since 1997 through its umbrella of companies. And we are headquartered here in Northern Virginia. So Chenega has other types of businesses, commercial businesses, et cetera. But of course, in my area, we're focused mostly on government contracting.
Wow, that's a great story. You hear a lot about the history of America and the challenges and the oppression, if you will, and things that happened. And so this is a positive outcome, at least for the Alaskan Natives in this respect.
Correct. And we are different. Alaska Natives are different than other 8As in the sense that there's certain, community engagement requirements and other things. And they're also the money that they get and the profits that they get, it is shared among a tribe. And, with Chenega, they don't have that many shareholders. And they also, the company is what they have. So a lot of other Alaska Natives, they have other types of businesses, other land holdings, oil holdings, things like that. Our board is very stable. They've been, our board doesn't really turn over. They've been there for 10, 15, 20 years. And the great thing is that they're not distracted by other types of businesses or anything like that. They're very, very focused just on Chenega Corporation. So we get a lot of resources and support from them. And, that's another reason why I like working at Chenega.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you've gone through your career and you've had some interesting opportunities to work for some big companies and a small company, start your own small company almost, right? Even though it's under the umbrella, it's still a lot of work. What's something you've seen in the industry that you wish, man, I wish that was done differently? And if you had the power to change it, you could wave your magic wand or whatever and make a change. Or alternatively, what's something in your career looking back that if you could change it, you would do?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on this a little bit in my career and when I was in school, I would have spent more time networking and less
Mhm.
time studying, to be honest, because I was very focused on being, having really high grades and things like that. But I mean, it's good to be competent, but I think, especially you realize when these recessions hit and everything like that, that how important it is to spend time networking. And when you're in college, even when you're in high school, I mean, you get unprecedented time with people
Mhm.
before all that kind of baggage sets in when you're an adult, right? Because you trust people. I mean, it's like we're all in school, right? We're all starting out our lives. And so we have friends that we've been, close to for 20 years. We can pick up the phone and guess what? All of them are doing really well, right? In their respective industries, some of which are in GovCon. So that's something that I think I would have done differently. And that's something that, my husband and I have two boys. And so we're teaching them, yeah, you got to work hard.
Mhm.
You need to be well-rounded. You need to you need to also make sure that you're developing relationships with people before you need them. So by being kind to others, being respectful and being helpful, right, to others. So that's something that in my career that I think I would have done differently. But of course, when you have kids, you can relive and try to correct your mistakes through them. And then in the industry, I definitely hear a lot of things about Alaska Natives. I'm, on a little bit of a, shall we call a honey campaign, if you will. I want people to, a lot of people have a lot of misperceptions, I think, about ANCs. And I feel like by engaging with those people and not disengaging with people. Like when people, like I go to networking events a lot and people are like, oh, ANCs, you get this, you get that, you're like this, you're like that, because they've had a bad experience or they have a misperception. And I could choose to disengage and walk away. But like I have some people, and I don't even know if they're trying to be rude. Like I have some people that come to me and they're like, oh, well, it's easy to get 350 people in your company when you guys are Alaska Native. Or, I mean, people have literally said this to my face and they've said also, no, I mean, it is what it is, I just take it for what it is. And I say, and some people have said to me, hey, well, it's easy. You pretty much don't have to work to get contracts, right? Some of them come to you. And you know what I said? I just said, yeah, some of them they do. Some of them they do. Some of them they don't.
Mhm.
So I just don't get offended. I'd rather listen and engage. This isn't always the best expression, but sometimes you have to keep your enemies closer. And I just want to be out in the world, in the GovCon community, and I want people to, I want to try to educate people. I want to try to change people's perceptions, and I want people to feel good about working with us. As an Alaska Native corporation, and I can't do that if I'm just sitting at my desk, yelling at people on the internet. I have to get out and engage with people, and if it means that you know, and people should feel, I think it's actually great if people come to me and say those things to my face, because it means maybe they're trying to engage, right? Because if they didn't say that to my face, that's why they always say, if your customer's yelling at you, it's actually good. When the customer goes silent, that's when the problems arise. So, I just want to, I just love working at Chenega, and I want to share all that happiness and good stuff with everybody, right? So I tell people, yeah, I mean, the government has lots of socioeconomic things going on, and you know, you can be mad or you can team with us, right? I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. So
That's so true, right? There's Hub Zone, there's a lot of them, and you're right. You still have to perform, or you won't get the follow-on contract, or it doesn't matter if you're the incumbent or not. If you're not performant, you won't continue to be in business.
well, a lot of people think that we don't compete for our contracts. And what I try to say is that at the very end, we're not competing, but we compete much, much earlier. Oral presentations and written capabilities. I mean, the government has to do market research, and they have to justify why they're going potentially an 8A route or an ANC route, and especially with us. So that's, again, but I can't have that conversation with people if I choose to disengage. Right.
That's a good point. So what's coming up for you here in this new year?
Well, we're hoping the budget will get passed.
Yeah, we all do. Yes.
Fingers crossed. We're busy with our current work, always with operations. I'm engaging with my team. We're on a in-office schedule, hybrid schedule, and so I'm enjoying engaging with some of the new members of my team. Some of them are straight out of college, and trying to help them get further along in their career so they can grow with Chenega and they can grow with the company the way that I did, right? I always tell people, if I can do it, anyone can do it. So everybody should, and I tell people, take advantage of the learning, take advantage of the training that you can get. So I'm busy with my team. We're busy with our current customers, and we're also starting to see more activity for the fiscal year end coming up. So certainly a lot of customers are engaging with us, asking us to provide capabilities, and we do that, and we don't always get picked. But just like with just when I talk about engaging, I always kind of tell people, I'm like, well, okay, the Navy didn't pick us this time, but they have to pick us sometimes, and we can't sit in the corner and pout just because we didn't get picked for this one. Do I think they made a mistake? Absolutely. By not picking us, but just keeping long-term relationships and engaging in person. That's one thing that I really missed during COVID. I never got used to the virtual, so I like being out and about. So I'm enjoying that. So a lot going on.
Well, Sonia, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and having a conversation with me and coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure.